Hello everybody, I am Nashat Akram. You're watching World Game.
Yes, Iraq's Nashat Akram, who had a strong game the other night in the midfield against the Socceroos and also scored the opening goal of the game. In late 2003, Bernd Stanger, the former Perth Glory coach, wanted to bring the team he had just taken over, Iraq, to Australia for a game against the Socceroos. The offer was rejected, probably because Iraq was seen as too weak an opponent. Instead, Iraq ended up playing a select local 11 in Perth. Last Friday, that same Iraq, with many of the same players, including the accomplished Nashat Akram, comprehensively beat and outplayed Australia at the Asian Cup. The worrying thing about this is that come the World Cup qualifiers, Australia has to finish in the top 4 in Asia to make it. Yet last week, Australia was embarrassed by Oman and Iraq, both of whom are ranked well outside Asia's top 4, and now nervously await Thailand, ranked even lower at number 17 in Asia. It is too early to bury this team just yet. Many tournament winners have had even worse starts than this. Yet the side of an inept, lost and confused Australia lingers worryingly, and one has to wonder where the transformation will come from. Socceroo Craig Foster now joins me for some analysis. Foz, before we start the chat, I should say that there has been a press conference late this afternoon in Bangkok, and we'll be hearing from Scott McIntyre in a few minutes about just what was said. But the rumour is, the big story today is about the player feud, or that there's a split in the camp. We don't know whether that's in fact the case, but is there fire where there's smoke?
I think so, yeah. I think even before they went into this tournament, I think a lot of us in the game have heard that there's divisions within the camp. But I think there's been a lot of signs throughout this campaign. One is the poor performances on the pitch and the fact that every single player is playing below their capabilities. Another is the fact that both before and after the Oman game, and then it's continued and even increased since then, all of the players have been coming out making tactical suggestions. We've heard from the doctor, we've heard from everyone there, with all the excuse making and all the carry on. But when your players come out and start questioning the coach and start making suggestions as to the way we should have and should play, then you know that the coach has lost control of this group of players. Whether he can wrest it back by tomorrow, who knows? We no longer know what to expect, because we're so different now in both a collective and also the way these individuals are behaving from what it was 12 months ago.
All right, let's go back to the Iraq game. Oman is a bit further in the distance now. How did you assess this performance?
Well, it was as poor as the first one. I think in the 180 minutes that we've played so far, we've probably controlled 10 minutes of it, and that was when we came back to 1-1. And then we had a good period, particularly where Emerton decided he would stay on the right and play as a right fullback, and started to get forward and did extremely well. Had a couple of chances cutting into the box, and of course he's crossed for the goal. Nashat absolutely destroyed us. This is a very good example of the way we've been defending recently under Arnold. And it's a collective issue. It's not enough to point the finger at Mark Schwarzer, and yes, he often has problems coming off his line mark in the air, but what was the guy doing there without a defender on him? Why is there an Iraqi on the edge of our 6-yard box unmarked? That's the question. It's not the fact of whether Schwarzer then makes the right decision or wrong one. He's been let down by his defence, or moreover by his team. As I said, collectively, two of the worst performances that we've seen in a long, long time. We haven't played to the conditions, though we've been very quick to blame them repeatedly. Of course, everyone else is playing in the same conditions, and their style of football, the way they're being coached, has very much matched them. Nashat was outstanding in this game. They had 3 good players. They're clearly a good team, but they had number 11 here, who was brilliant. And late in the game, I think for all of us, when he started to try and chip us, they were really enjoying themselves. They had, at this point, it was when I think all Australian fans were saying, well, really we're being embarrassed here, in a sense of where we were last year and the way the team was functioning. The team's no longer functioning virtually at all. People aren't playing the same roles. Lucas Neal's behaviour late in the match was clearly undisciplined and a disgrace. And all the talk in the last couple of days has been about Lucas's behaviour within the squad. Now, we're not there. But what I'll say is that this has been ongoing for a long time, and the coach is in charge. If people are misbehaving, if indeed people are getting too big for themselves within the squad. It's the coach who should be in control of this well before now, and it's not enough to blame the players after a poor performance.
All right, that's how the table looks at the moment, and you can work out for yourselves what Australia needs in order to qualify. They play Thailand, of course, tomorrow night, and they have to beat Thailand quite handsomely. Well, if the result on Friday night disappointed all Socceroos fans, have a listen to what Coach Graham Arnold had to say in this post-match interview.
Yeah, to say the least, obviously, there's some players that don't want to be here. It was always a risk doing this mid-season and after they've had a break, but extremely disappointing.
You just said that it looks like some players that don't want to be here. That must disappoint you, coaching a national side. Yeah, well, it's you put in a performance again like that after the other night. It's it's two stupid mistakes, and we can use the heat as an excuse and the humidity, but I'm very disappointed in some players. What's the most disappointing aspect of the way they're playing?
The way we gave the ball away and lack of discipline.
You stuck true to a few players. You picked a few players by reputation. Is it time now in this last game to bite the bullet and maybe leave a few of the bigger names on the bench?
Absolutely.
What did you make of Lucas Neal's send-off at the end? Now you've got to reshuffle your defence for the last game.
Overall, Lucas's whole game was poor, and his frustrations at the end, I'm very disappointed.
Is it possible to turn it round for the final game against Thailand?
Well, we've only got 2 days. We'll see.